You ever start a tactics game just for a quick match? And next thing you know, it's 3 a.m., your squad is bleeding, your best soldier just went rogue, and you're blaming a 78% miss for ruining your life? Yeah, welcome to Tactical RPGs. This video is a full-on tribute to the games that break your brain, your heart, and maybe your controller. From brutal medieval quests to mech-filled wars in space, we're diving into the wildest, smartest, and most addictive tactical games out there.
You must take up.
King Arthur Knight's Tale brings a gritty tactical twist to the classic legend. It drops you into a dark, brutal version of Camelot where battles are tough, decisions actually matter, and every move on the grid can decide the fate of your squad. You play as Sir Mordred, the guy who once killed King Arthur and died doing it. Except now, both of you are somehow alive again, and the Lady of the Lake wants you to finish the job for good. Everything's twisted, Camelot's a nightmare, Arthur's turned into something monstrous, and it's on you to clean up the mess. The combat is where this game really shines. Every fight feels like a deadly chess match, with positioning, turn order, and class synergy making all the difference. You've got Overwatch-style mechanics, armor that needs to be broken before you can deal real damage, and even obstacles that affect line of sight and movement, forcing smart positioning to avoid ambushes. To make things even more intense, your knights can suffer permanent injuries that weaken them for the rest of the campaign. Or worse, die for good if you're not careful. One of the coolest parts is how your decisions off the battlefield impact your squad. Characters have their own beliefs, and if you keep making choices that go against what they stand for, they'll start to question you, or even abandon the team completely. Every hero you recruit comes with their own unique skill tree, gear loadout, and even personality quirks that can affect how they perform in battle. Some are straight-up tanks, others are better as ranged support or nasty damage dealers, and mixing and matching abilities becomes essential as the missions get harder. And building solid team synergy is way more satisfying than it has any right to be. Outside of battle, you'll spend a lot of time restoring Camelot itself. Buildings like the cathedral, training grounds, and hospice aren't just for show. They give you powerful upgrades, healing options, and new ways to customize your heroes.
Ready to fight. Blessings.
BattleTech drops you into a war-torn galaxy where giant mechs aren't just cool, they're your only shot at survival. The story kicks off with a full-blown civil war tearing the galaxy apart. You play as a former noble-turned-mercenary caught in the middle of a power struggle after a brutal betrayal shakes the ruling house. And you're not just clicking around a map, you're managing a mercenary company from the ground up. You've got to hire pilots, maintain your mechs, take risky contracts, and make brutal decisions that actually impact your future. Each battle plays out on a grid-based map, where you and your enemies take turns moving mechs and firing off everything from lasers to long-range missiles. Positioning is crucial, and you'll need to use cover, elevation, and angles to your advantage, or you'll get wrecked fast. Different mechs come with specific roles, loadouts, and armor distribution, so knowing how to use each one in your squad makes a massive difference. You've also got to watch your heat levels, because overheating can shut down your mech mid-fight or even cook the pilot. Outside combat, you'll be constantly fixing up damaged mechs, swapping out parts, upgrading systems, and deciding which weapons go where. Pilots gain experience over time, so training them and picking the right skills for each one is key if you want to survive tougher missions. You've also got to keep an eye on your cash flow. As traveling between systems costs money, repairs aren't cheap, and a bad contract can leave your crew broke and busted. Whether you're a veteran of the genre or just into big stompy robots, BattleTech delivers a tactical experience that's smart, gritty, and surprisingly emotional.
detected large amounts of an organic composite. So far, the sample doesn't match any.
Calling Phoenix Point just an XCOM clone doesn't do it justice. This game takes the foundation that XCOM built and pushes it into darker, more complex territory. The world of Phoenix Point is basically screwed. Decades after a mysterious virus melted the ice caps and unleashed a mutating alien threat, humanity's barely holding on. Most governments are gone, and you're in charge of the Phoenix Project, a secret organization meant to save what's left of the planet. Combat in Phoenix Point gives you a ton of freedom. You control every move, every angle, and every shot. The game lets you target specific body parts so you can cripple enemies, destroy their weapons, or slow them down. Cover actually matters, and flanking isn't just a bonus, it's essential. But one of the best parts is the free aim system. You're not just stuck with hidden dice rolls or vague percentages. You manually aim, line up your shot, and actually see the spread of your bullets before pulling the trigger. Each operative belongs to a specific class, like Assault, Heavy, or Sniper. But the game lets you multi-class them as they level up, opening the door to all kinds of creative builds. Want a tank that can also cloak and flank like a scout? Go for it. Each skill tree is packed with powerful abilities, and combining them across classes can lead to some wild tactical options. Outside of combat, there's a whole layer of strategy that's just as important. You're flying around the globe in your transport, scanning for threats, scavenging supplies, rescuing survivors, and making contact with other factions. Each group has its own ideology, and whether you choose to work with them or piss them off can completely change how the game plays out. You're also rebuilding bases, managing research, upgrading gear, and making sure your squads are ready for whatever nightmare shows up next. It's a gritty, brutal experience, but one that rewards you for thinking like a real commander.
Took one down. Threat eliminated.
Super Robot Wars 30 brings together giant mechs from a ton of classic and modern anime series into one massive tactical crossover with legends like Gundam and Evangelion all fighting side by side. The game throws you into a war that spans multiple timelines and universes and somehow makes it all make sense. You get full control of a massive roster, and each unit feels unique, not just in stats, but in personality, animations, and special moves. Combat in Super Robot Wars 30 follows a turn-based grid-style system, where positioning and unit synergy make a huge difference. You move your mechs across the battlefield, choosing when to strike, defend, or support your allies, and each pilot has their own set of spirit commands. Basically, special skills that can heal, boost damage, or dodge incoming attacks. Energy and ammo management play a big role too, since some of the flashier attacks use up serious resources. But what makes it stand out is how every move feels like an anime finale, complete with dramatic camera angles, voice lines, and unique animations. Outside of combat, you can upgrade your mechs, equip them with different parts to boost stats, and even customize weapons to hit harder or reach farther. Pilots can level up, learn new abilities, and be assigned to different machines. There's also a ship you return to between missions, acting as your base of operations where you handle development, training, and side conversations with the crew. And instead of forcing you down a linear path, the game gives you a mission select system that feels more open-ended. You choose which missions to tackle, which storylines to follow, and which characters to recruit first. That flexibility not only keeps things fresh, but also lets you shape your playthrough based on the shows or units you like most.
へっ戦いの勘は錆びついちゃいないぜそれで終わりかだったらここは打ち負ける
Alright, quick break. If you're still here and your brain hasn't melted from all the tactical decisions, maybe drop a like? It keeps the morale high around here. Also, hit the comments and let me know which games or series you'd like to see featured in the next parts of this video. I'm always looking for great suggestions to play and add to the list. Comments help the algorithm gods notice this tiny corner of the internet, and I do check and reply to every single one. And hey, if you're enjoying the ride, hit that subscribe button. It's cheaper than DLCs and way less buggy. Symphony of War: The Nephilim Saga is one of those games that completely flips your expectations. It takes the tactical RPG formula and adds a deep layer of squad management and long-term planning. Instead of focusing on individual heroes, the spotlight is on the army as a whole, so you're constantly customizing units, tweaking formations, and making decisions that impact the entire campaign. The story drops you into a civil war in the land of Tanra, where you play as a newly promoted officer in the Imperial Army, caught between a corrupt monarchy, a brewing rebellion, and the mysterious Nephilim, an ancient power awakening across the land. Combat in Symphony of War plays out on a grid-based map, but what makes it stand out is how each unit is actually a full squad of characters working together. When two squads clash, the game switches to a side-view battle where formations, class balance, and positioning determine the outcome. You're not just moving pieces around, you're managing frontliners, ranged units, healers, and special classes all in one group. Some units attack first, some counter, and others support. So setting up your squad composition is just as important as battlefield tactics. Outside of battle, you recruit new characters, promote them into advanced classes, and equip your squads with gear that actually makes a difference. Gold, resources, and items are limited, so you've got to decide where to invest. Do you train a backup squad, upgrade your main team, or save up for that powerful artifact? There's also a morale system that affects performance in combat, so keeping your troops happy isn't just cosmetic. For fans of tactical games that love micromanagement and building powerful teams from scratch, this one hits the mark hard.
At attention. Welcome to Legio Witrix.
Being a Roman legatus isn't just about barking orders and swinging swords. In Expeditions Rome, you're balancing battlefield tactics with backroom politics, trying to survive a crumbling republic while dragging your squad through the dirt, blood, and drama of an empire on fire. You don't just command units, you make choices that shape the fate of an empire. Every mission throws you into unique scenarios with different objectives and environments that keep things fresh. Combat in Expeditions Rome is turn-based, but it's far from slow. Every move counts, and positioning can make or break your strategy. Each character has a specific class, like heavy-hitting veterans, nimble rogues, or support units. And combining their abilities is where the real depth kicks in. But what really sets it apart is the way it weaves story into gameplay. Your companions have personalities, backstories, and their own roles in the bigger picture. It's not just about winning fights, it's about leading a team through the chaos of war and politics. Outside of combat, there's a whole other game happening behind the scenes. You manage your Legion's camp, where you craft new gear, assign tasks to your companions, and make upgrades that affect your entire army. Each decision eats up time and resources, so you've got to plan carefully, especially when you're deep in enemy territory. Companions can be put in charge of construction, healing, scouting, or leading operations, each task benefiting from their unique skill sets. One of the most unique parts of Expeditions Rome is how it handles your legion outside of the main squad. While you're out on missions, your larger army is still active on the campaign map, conquering territory, building outposts, and managing supply lines. You assign trusted lieutenants to lead operations, resolve events, and even deal with local uprisings.
Now that's a real feat. So I got this tip from a guy about a train.
Hard West 2 throws you into a Wild West nightmare full of bullets, ghosts, and tough choices. You lead a crew of outlaws across brutal, turn-based shootouts where positioning and timing matter just as much as firepower. The story kicks off with a train robbery gone wrong. Really wrong. Instead of gold, your crew ends up stealing something cursed, and that sets off a chain of supernatural chaos. The game blends classic Western action with eerie supernatural elements, creating a unique vibe that sets it apart from other tactical games. Combat in Hard West 2 is all about momentum, because every time you kill an enemy, you trigger what's called bravado, refilling your action points and letting you keep going. This opens the door for insane combos where you can clear out entire enemy squads in a single turn if you plan right. Each character has their own special abilities too, like trick shots that bounce bullets, or ghost powers that mess with enemies in wild ways. And this isn't just a group of nameless gunslingers, they've got backstories, grudges, and powers that reflect who they are. You'll ride with a mix of sharpshooters, witches, and cursed outlaws, each with their own abilities and upgrade paths. As you progress, you can equip them with cards from a supernatural poker deck that unlocks new skills depending on the hand you build. Between shootouts, you ride across a detailed overworld map full of eerie towns, haunted mines, and strange encounters. You'll talk to locals, make tough moral calls, and sometimes face off against things that clearly don't belong in the natural world. Your choices during these moments can shift how the story plays out or unlock new gear and upgrades.
I got this one. Ready.
Ready when you are. You go get him, dear.
Thanks, man. You're way too friggin' tense. Your hands are shaking.
Valkyria Chronicles 4 throws you right back into the middle of a war where strategy, grit, and a bit of luck decide who makes it out alive. The game builds on the core mechanics that fans already love but adds smart updates that make each battle feel more dynamic and intense. The story follows Squad E, a group of young soldiers fighting on the front lines of a massive continental war. It runs parallel to the events of the first game, but from a completely different perspective, so even if you've never touched the earlier titles, you won't feel lost. Combat in Valkyria Chronicles 4 blends turn-based tactics with real-time control, and in each turn, you spend command points to move units like scouts, shock troopers, snipers, and tanks across a three-dimensional battlefield. Once you select a unit, you take direct control, aiming, moving, and shooting in real time while enemies fire back if you get too close. Terrain, line of sight, and unit types all play a huge role in how fights unfold. New to this entry is the Grenadier class, which adds long-range support and changes how you approach entrenched enemies. One feature that really adds depth to Valkyria Chronicles 4 is the potential system. Every soldier in your squad comes with their own traits, some positive, some not so much, that kick in during combat based on the situation. A character might fight harder when near certain allies, panic in open fields, or get extra accuracy when low on health. It makes the squad feel more human and forces you to think beyond just stats and weapons. So building team chemistry and learning how each soldier reacts under pressure becomes just as important as planning your next move.
Wide open!
Take this!
Final Fantasy Tactics is one of those games that just refuses to get old. It blends deep strategy with RPG elements in a way that feels both addictive and incredibly satisfying. The heart of Final Fantasy Tactics lies in its job system. Instead of locking characters into fixed roles, you train them across dozens of classes like Knight, Black Mage, Monk, Archer, or even more advanced ones like Ninja and Calculator. The more you level up a job, the more abilities and advanced classes you unlock. And the best part is, you can mix and match skills from different classes to build completely unique setups. Combat takes place on a grid-based battlefield, where positioning, elevation, and timing matter just as much as your stats. Each battle feels like a puzzle where there's rarely one perfect solution. Height advantage can give you extra range or damage, while attacking from the side or back increases your hit chances. Spells have casting times, so you need to predict where enemies will be when the spell actually lands. And some abilities affect specific tiles or zones, which adds another layer of planning. Another thing that makes Final Fantasy Tactics stand out is how story and gameplay are tightly connected. Missions aren't just random battles, They're tied to a political plot full of betrayal, shifting alliances, and unexpected turns. The main story follows a fixed path, but some optional events and secret battles add extra depth if you go looking for them. And some side characters even have their own unique jobs and abilities you won't see anywhere else. It gives the campaign a real sense of progression and makes every victory feel like it's moving the story forward, not just clearing a map. And now, after all these years, Final Fantasy Tactics is finally getting a remaster, launching on September 30th.
The battlefield is no place for children.
Triangle strategy doesn't waste time easing you in. It drops you headfirst into political chaos, backstabbing nobles, and battles where one wrong move can ruin everything. The story takes place in Norzelia, a continent still recovering from a massive war over salt and iron, and you play as Serenoa, heir to House Wolffort, who finds himself caught in the middle of rising tensions between three major powers. Visually, Triangle strategy blends retro pixel art with modern 3D environments, using that stylish HD 2D look popularized by Octopath Traveler. Combat takes place on a grid-based battlefield, where positioning is everything. Turn order depends on each character's speed, and you can deal extra damage by hitting enemies from behind or attacking from higher ground. If you manage to flank an opponent with 2 units, you trigger a coordinated strike that can turn the tide of battle. And instead of flooding you with classes and complicated trees, Triangle strategy keeps things focused, as each character has a fixed role. But you upgrade them by promoting their class and unlocking new abilities. This makes every unit feel handcrafted and distinct, with strengths and weaknesses that are easy to learn, but still deep enough to master. But one of the most interesting mechanics in Triangle strategy is the conviction system. Instead of a classic morality meter, your choices shape Serenoa's values across 3 hidden axes: morality, liberty, and utility. These values influence how the story branches and which characters are willing to join your cause. When big decisions come up, your party actually votes on what to do, and you can try to sway their opinions through dialogue and past actions. It makes every choice feel like it matters, not just for the plot, but for the makeup of your team and the direction of your entire campaign.
With the powers in me.
By the way, this is actually part 2 of this list, so if you missed the first one, it's popping up on your screen right now. Hope both videos earned your subscription, and hey, maybe even a comment on each just to make my day.